You have to be comfortable with being misunderstood. You have to. Because if you're trying to be understood by everyone, then you're not understanding yourself. And the entire point of life is to understand yourself deeper and to keep meeting new versions of yourself wherever you're at. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Patience to Prosperity podcast. My name is Lizzie. I'm your host. If you haven't been here already and don't know me, we're sitting outside on my porch right now back home, so you're going to be hearing a lot of nature in the background, maybe some dogs barking, maybe some people mowing their lawn, and we're just going to roll with it today. We're embracing messiness in this podcast, especially in season 6. You know, before I was so concerned with making my seasons mean something, and right now I'm just vibing. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell, if you're avid listeners of this podcast, or if you've been listening since the beginning, you know that we've gone through a lot of changes. This season, season 6, I think is going to be about embracing messiness and showing up just to show up, not to be perfect, which is actually translating right into what I want to talk about today. This episode is going to be a lot about the creative process and all of the doubts and fears that come with it. Maybe you're fearing failure. Maybe you're fearing your own potential. Maybe you are self-sabotaging yourself in a lot of ways right now. Or you're getting really concerned with how many people your art is reaching. Wherever you're at, this episode is for you. So, diving right into that, a download that I had while getting ready to sit down today on the mic was, what if you started viewing everything as a reason to keep going, as a reason to keep showing up and to keep putting your art out there, rather than a reason to throw in the towel and to stop creating altogether? Because I think that something that no one really talks about in the creative process is the doubt that comes with it constantly, especially in the beginning before you've really reached all the people that you're meant to reach. There is so much doubt behind it because you start to think, okay, it's taken me this long now to really reach my people. Maybe it's just not meant for me. But you can actually start to think about every single trial and tribulation that comes your way, every challenge that comes your way, as a test, an ultimate test to how devoted you are to your craft. If you start to look at every single thing that's thrown at you as part of the process, as more of a reason to keep showing up, imagine how much more confident you are going to be every time you show up. Because you know that your doubts and that your quote-unquote failures are just getting you one step closer to who you're meant to be. And to who you're meant to be in order to reach the people you're meant to reach. Because maybe the current version of you right now is still building on the foundation that you're working on. That strong foundation that you're going to have with you for the entire rest of your creative endeavors. I saw this quote once that said, if you were 30 failures away from succeeding, how fast would you be willing to fail? Every single time you put some content out there on social media and it doesn't go viral, and you view that as a failure, babe, you're one step closer to that viral video. But you are putting out such negative energy every single time. You're frantically trying to meet the people you're meant to be reaching. Trying to push your art onto other people creates negative energy. It creates this realm where they are not seeing it authentically, where you're blocking all the authenticity from it. I saw this girl on TikTok that I love so much, and I actually wish I had her name so I can plug her because she's amazing, but maybe I'll put her in the show notes below. And she was talking about how, when you're pushing your art down other people's throats, it's kind of like when you're, walking the streets of a big city, or you just get off the train somewhere and someone's trying to push this hair straightener down your throat, or they're trying to get you to buy this snack and no one wants to fucking buy their shit. No one wants to buy it because it's so forced. But maybe if they were just selling water on the side of the street on a hot day and they weren't making such a commotion and they weren't forcing it down people's throats, people would come up to them because they were thirsty. You know? So it's like you have to be the energy that you want to attract. You have to be that energy. If you want authentic people to meet you, you have to be rooted in your authentic truth. That doesn't mean that you have to do something or become something to be more authentic. That's where we go wrong. Your authentic self is already in you. You don't have to be or become something to be your most authentic self. You just have to shed what you aren't. You have to unbecome what you aren't. You aren't someone who forces people to be friends with them. You're not that person. So why are you trying to force people to cling to your art and to your creation? It's going to meet the people it's meant to meet when and how it's supposed to. And I know that you know that. I know that this is just me reiterating that to you. But you have to start creating to release. Not to be heard, not to be understood. To release whatever you have on your heart space. Because that's how you truly embody authenticity. That's how you create from an authentic space. That's how you meet the people you're meant to meet. And that's how they're going to hear you loud and clear, is when you're literally just speaking from your heart space. Because people can only meet you as deeply as you've met yourself. And you learn that through meeting other people. Think about the friendships that have fizzled out in your life. A lot of them, you've probably had to go your separate ways because they no longer align with you, right? Because they stopped growing and you kept growing and you outgrew them. You know, people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. And you can't force people to meet themselves deeply. You can only understand yourself deeper. I love how the second that I said that, whoever was mowing their fuck ass lawn stopped. And now you can hear me clearly. Would you look at that? So, one thing I really want you to understand is that this thing that you have on your heart space right now that you can't stop thinking about, that consumes your everyday thought, that keeps urging you to create and to put your art out there, whatever it is on your heart space, you can try to convince yourself as many times as you want that this thing is not meant for you. It is already in your destiny. The cards have already been laid out. It is already going to happen when and how it's supposed to. So you can try to convince yourself, you can spend all your time trying to convince yourself that this thing is not meant for you. And you can create as many walls as you want to between you and the thing that you are ultimately trying to reach right now. But it does not matter because it's going to happen anyways. So stop making it harder for yourself. Stop making it harder for you to believe in yourself and to trust in your timing. Just like whatever you view as success is always on your mind, and this creation that you have of yours is always on your mind, and it's going to become something whether you want it to or not. You are also going to meet brand new versions of yourself whether you want to or not. Whether you are comfortable with where you're at or not, you are going to meet brand new versions of yourself. You are going to grow. You are going to change. That is inevitable. So become as comfortable with change as you are with staying the same. And when you're changing, you don't have to understand why. You don't have to understand. Like, it's okay if it's confusing right now. It's okay if you feel so uneasy right now because you know that something big is coming. You're fearing your own potential right now. You're scared of how much you are capable of. In the grand scheme of things, that's actually really fucking cool. That means that you have something in store for you that is so huge that it's actually making you uncomfortable. It's actually making you fear your own potential. Something that I feel like we often forget when we get to this point where we're so devoted to our own journeys of growth and healing. We get to this point where we're standing in our authentic truth right now as we are. We are currently living in our authentic truth. We have currently met the most authentic version that we have ever been before. And we forget how fucking cool we are. Like, genuinely, you are so cool and you forget that. Like, if you asked yourself the question, would you want to be your friend? I guarantee you your answer is probably yes. You would want to be your friend. Because you're really fucking cool. And you forget that. Not only would you want to be your friend, but you know that you are a good friend to others. That you make everyone feel loved when they're in your presence. That you light every single person that you meet up. And when they leave you, they feel better than when they first found you. And that's your superpower. And if that's true in your physical world, why would that not be true in the world of social media, in the world of whatever space you're creating in right now? Why would that not be true? Start believing that everything good or bad that comes into your life is meant to come into your life. Because I know if you're listening to this and you've come this far, you already believe that. I know you do. You know that everything happens for a reason. As cliche as it sounds, it happens for a reason. But sometimes you don't live by it. You know? You have all these beliefs and you're so strongly rooted in what you believe to the point where it's actually caused you to step outside of what you know and to create in different realms and different capacities that you have not yet stepped into. But you don't constantly live by the belief that everything happens for a reason. Because you'll take something as a sign that something's not meant for you. You can't believe that everything happens for a reason and also believe that whatever comes up is not meant for you. Maybe it's not meant for you in the sense of it's not meant to be in your life, but it was meant to be shown to you for a reason. It was meant to come up maybe again, maybe for a second or a third time for a reason. Because maybe you didn't learn your lesson from it the first time. Or maybe you did, and it's just coming up to amplify to you how much you have changed this time around. How much growth you have endured. And how much different you are now when this thing has come up. Something I want to talk about now is devotion to yourself and to your craft. Because I think that we view devotion and discipline as the same thing when it comes to the creative process or to our own self-healing or growth journeys. And the thing about discipline is that it will always fizzle out. It will always get to a point where it drains you completely and it burns you out. When you're completely rooted in a place of discipline rather than devotion. And the funny thing about it is that I feel when I look back at my journey with exercising and working out, I feel that when I was working out from a place of self-hatred, when it was ultimately from discipline, because devotion is rooted in self-love, discipline is rooted in self-hatred for the most part. At least in the extent of how we're viewing it today. I weirdly felt like it was easier to keep showing up when I was rooted in discipline, in that self-hatred part of me. Because I was looking to change myself. Because I hated who I was so badly that I'd rather be anything else and anyone else but who I was. So it was so much easier for me to act from a place of self-hatred for that reason. I don't know, it's still a half-baked thought for me, so I'm kind of just talking it out with you guys right now. But I think the reason for that is because devotion is rooted in self-love, like I said. And with that, when you love yourself so deeply, it's so much easier for you to tell yourself, okay, well, my body's really tired right now, so I don't want to go work out. I don't want to move it. Even though there's a part of you that knows how much you benefit from pushing yourself a little bit every single day, you know? So maybe that's just me talking in circles. Maybe that's me coming to the realization that it is always about devotion in the end of the day. And maybe the discipline that comes with it just has to be rooted in self-love. Because you can push yourself out of your comfort zone still in a devotional way. Because you love yourself so much to push yourself out of your comfort zone, because you know that it always leads to growth, that it always leads to a higher version of yourself that you have yet to meet. A big challenge that I have come to face throughout my own creative journey is the idea that I should know already, like I should have this vision in my head of what I'm working towards, of the most abundant version of me and what that looks like. And I truly, truly don't think that you need to have this crystal clear vision of what you want your art, your creation, or your most authentic self to look like. I don't think you need to know. For some people, maybe that's a tactic you like to use to manifest that into your life and to become comfortable with what it feels like to be that in that version of yourself and at that part of your life. But I want you to know that if that's not where you're at and that's not how you operate, that doesn't mean that you are out of place. That doesn't mean that where you're at is wrong and that you're never going to reach that version of you just because you can't envision it right now. Maybe the reason why you can't envision the most abundant version of you and your life is because it's something so much greater than what you can imagine. Maybe that's the reason why. Like, what if you just started to look at life that way? What if you just started to ask yourself, what is the best possible thing that can happen? Rather than, what's the worst possible thing that can come of this? You keep asking yourself, oh, but what if this fails and I put myself out there and now everyone else can see, all my peers can see. Okay, baby, but what if the best possible thing happens from this? Even if it's a year down the line. What if the best possible thing happens? Sometimes you also have to look at it through the lens of how many different versions of yourself you've met through putting yourself out there and putting your art out into the world. Simply just creating. Even if you're at this point right now where you haven't put your art out into the world yet, you have to think about how many different versions of yourself you've met because you've allowed yourself the gift of creating. You have to create to release, like I said before, not to be heard and not to be understood, to release. Because the opposite of expression is depression. If you're not expressing everything that you need to get out there, you're going to hold on to it inside of you. And the worst possible thing that you can do is let a dream die inside of you because you are too afraid to let other people perceive it. Because the truth is, other people are going to perceive you no matter what you do in life. No matter if you have a social media platform or you don't. No matter if you post on it or you don't. If you posed pictures on Instagram or if you post photo dumps. Like, it does not matter what you post or how you put your art out into the world. You're going to be perceived anyways. People are going to judge you anyways, good or bad. So, like, you might as well just be the most authentic version of you. You might as well just speak from your heart space and from the part of you that truly believes what you're saying, that truly likes what you're posting, that truly feels like you're releasing something every single time you get it out there, rather than holding yourself back from fully expressing who you are. Let yourself go shine. Stop dimming your own fucking sparkle. Like, the world is already trying to do that so often when it comes to things like social media and everything under that umbrella. There are so many things in life, so many people that are just energy vampires, that are just trying to suck every ounce of energy from you. So why be that person for yourself? Why are you trying to drain yourself of your own energy? You're making it more complicated than it has to be. All the world is asking of you right now is to show up exactly as you are and let that be enough. Let people decide what your art means to them. Don't try to push it onto them. Let them decide what it means to them. Because you already know what it means to you. You feel it every time you release it. And not only that, you feel what it's like to hold it in you and to let it die inside of you. Don't let yourself feel that feeling again. That's a choice. You don't need to feel that way. The worst thing that you could ever do is stop creating and let a dream die inside of you. Stop telling yourself you dream too big. Stop telling yourself this is not meant for you or that you don't have what it takes. If it was put on your heart space, it was put there for a reason. So just keep becoming curious with that by showing up every single time it comes up. Showing up for you, not for other people. Showing up because it's a form of release for yourself and letting other people make sense of it in their own way. Because even if you have an intention behind what you want someone to get from the art that you're putting out there, people are going to make sense of it however they are anyways. I posted a TikTok not too long ago about this, where I was kind of talking about how when you listen to one of your favorite songs, you have made meaning of that song in your own sense, right? Of how it relates to you and your life. But also maybe you know a lot about this artist and you think that they created this as a result of something in their life. Like maybe you know that they dated someone in the public eye and you thought that they created this song because of that person. But they actually created this song because it was about their grandma, you know? Like, you have no fucking idea. People are going to make sense of things however they are going to make sense of it. So let them. Let them. You cannot control other people's perceptions of you. That is not in your control. And it's just energy that you don't need to be holding on to. So fucking release that so you can make room for who you actually are and who you're meant to be in this life. If you've listened this far, I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so happy that this episode found you. If the fear of being perceived was something that you really resonate with, I have a whole episode on it, so go check that out. It's in one of my earlier seasons, so you might have to dig a little bit for it. But yeah, if you're feeling called to leave me a rating or review on this podcast to help me reach like-minded people just like you, I would really appreciate that. I also just love hearing your feedback on things that maybe you're struggling with right now and you want to hear more of, or things you want to hear less of, whatever it might be. I'm open to any and all comments and concerns. And with that, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube. All of my social medias will be linked down below for you guys in the show notes. So go check that out. I also curate journal prompts to every single episode I post in the show notes below. So if you want a little extension of this episode to go work on some inner work on your own without me in your ears, or maybe while listening to the podcast at the same time, to each their own, that will always be there for you in those show notes. So yeah, I'm going to stop yapping. I think that's all I have for you guys today. But just know that you're not in this alone. And I am here for you. I'm always an ear for you guys, no matter where you're at in your journey. Even if you think that we wouldn't align on it or whatever thoughts are coming through, if you're feeling called to reach out to me, please do, because I would love to hear from you guys. And without further ado, as always, come as you are and leave a little more healed.